Hello, and good morning. Cheers. So, yeah, grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab whatever it is that you wish to drink. I don't care. I have been dealing with something for the past few days, so, and I'm not going to go into details because if my ex ever sees it, either he'll weaponize it or he'll make fun of me for it, and I'm not having that because I'm not entertainment value in that regard. So, but I will say that I dealt with something else last night. In a moment of weakness, the friend that I cut ties with, the 14-year friendship, I had a moment of weakness the other day and reached out through the only place that I hadn't blocked him yet. And I showed him vulnerability and told him what happened. And yet again, it turned into about him and how I'm the bad person. I tried sharing with him that the reason for why I blocked him was because of my habit of reaching out to him. It was more of a wall for me than it was for him because I kept reaching out to him. And I have come to realize that he does not have the emotional capacity to support me in the way that I would like. He decided in order to get upset about that and tell me that I am emotionally immature, and summarized version that I basically can't take criticism. Thing is that I can take criticism. I might not like it, but I do think it over, and I've grown a lot over the past few years. But he refuses to see that, to see any of that. Like he has continuously yelled at me for me being me. Showing emotions, I was too sensitive. Telling him that I loved him even as a friend. He goes, well, what happens when a dam breaks? It floods. Don't worry, it'll be over soon. He claims he got upset with me because I care about people. Even though he claims to care and love people too. He cared about everybody else but me. I think I was more of a supply to him because he wouldn't consider me a close friend, but he didn't treat me as a friend. I've explained before in my last video of a lot of things that he did, like yelling at me for me researching my ancestry, yelling at me for posting on my own Facebook. He yelled at me for not taking my coffee black. I remember the first time that I met him in person, and he criticized me for picking up a fucking vitamin water at Walmart. I mentioned about, the soy milk in the fridge for my son who's allergic to cow's milk. He criticized me on that, even though My son's allergic to fucking milk. I'm sorry. I'm trying to have conversations with them. Showing any sort of emotional capacity turned into I was too sensitive. And last night it turned into yet another argument. And that's it. He's blocked there too. I'm guessing he blocked me at that point, but he just reminded me of why I chose to block him in the first place. And I shouldn't have reached that when I did. I should have been stronger in that moment, but I didn't. And I can't regret the decision because it proved the point. It proved the point, so I can't regret it. Part of me wishes that I was stronger in that moment and that I could have resisted texting him, but as someone who has been struggling with showing emotions for literally years, like, I grew up when I was in kindergarten. Okay. I had a bully who eventually turned into a friend because I protected him against my own parents. He will get the entire bus to chant Jessica is a crybaby all the way to and all the way from school. So I stopped crying. I stopped being sensitive. I had a bully in 4th grade that every time that I went to go and open up my mouth to say anything during lunch, he would immediately tell me to shut up, to the point that I shut up. That's another reason for why I started this channel, was because me making videos and posting them, like, yeah, people can, stop the video, but I can't be interrupted. I can't be told, shut up. I can get the words out. And yeah, in the very beginning, I sucked at making videos and I repeated myself endlessly. And I cringe at my ums. God. So, wait. It's bad. I can't watch my older videos because of that. I still do it on occasion, but I'm a lot better. I asked this man for years, for the past 2 years, because it started in 2023 because I remember our laundry room is out here. It's a very old house, a very small house, cottage style, so it's kind of like a shed that's attached to the house. So, but, right. I was doing laundry, and I text him, this is something, I don't remember which. I had contacted him. And that's kind of like when the whole asking to be respected came. And started that process. And, you know, I had told him before of how he had hurt me. But the process, the pattern still continued of him treating me like shit. Okay? And so back in 2023 was when I had started to ask him for the mutual respect that I gave him. You know, I did my best in order to support him and for him to feel seen and heard in the ways that I hadn't throughout my life. I didn't want him to suffer like I did. You know, I knew about his childhood growing up. I even knew about his mother breaking a dragon statue that he had back around the time that he and I first met. And it's like, I wanted him to feel seen and heard. But he wouldn't give that to me either. Like, he would give me snippets. Like, telling me in 2019 to go ahead and talk about anything. And that moment of permission, I bawled my fucking eyes out in the kitchen. But then when I would continue in order to try and talk about anything that I wanted, you know, from there on out, there's still a problem. I would get moments of permission and then yelled at to shut up. Basically, that was the basic rundown of be quiet. Stop having emotions, stop showing emotions, stop feeling your emotions. He would, you know, preach about stoicism and but he doesn't even have the emotional capacity to fully understand that either. You know, I couldn't share my own journey without him getting upset with me on who I was sharing it with. He wanted control. He wanted to always be right. And I shouldn't sit here having a little voice in my head telling me I wish I wasn't inconvenient. That's just a reminder. I wish I wasn't an inconvenience. I shouldn't be thinking that. I shouldn't be having that little voice in my head. Because I shouldn't feel that way. And up until I had blocked him originally, I had, you know, his echoing voice in my head of all the negative things that he has yelled at me about, whatever. Just continuously on loop. Anytime that I would try to do something, if I tried to show emotion, I had to be quiet. You know, it was weakness. If I showed any sort of love in any capacity, I was living in a fairy tale inside my head. Anytime that I felt any sort of inkling of being special, I'd hear him yell at me that I wasn't special. because I don't remember if I had said this in the last video, but him and his ex had this whole, you know, people in the rough complex, and he made it pretty clear that I was not one of them. And it's just one of those, not just towards me, but it's like, who are you to live on a high horse and judge everybody else on whether they're unique or not? That's not his to judge of anybody. And then he goes around and it's like anybody that he has a chance of pretty much betting, that's putting it nicely. So then yeah, intimate, that's when he talks to them more, when he's more sweet, more emotional. And I might get yelled at for this because I don't, people have issues with it, but it's one of those. I want an answer and or a confirmation from something or someone out of context. I explained the situation and I asked my chat GPT what happened, and it told me that I was trauma bonded to him. Like how I was trauma bonded to my ex. Because of the whole, you know, endless cycles. But coming from someone who has been emotionally shut down for years, and I'm still coming to terms with it because I don't like being vulnerable. It terrifies me to be vulnerable, because that vulnerability, that sign of weakness, has been weaponized to me, or weaponized against me for over a decade, pretty much since kindergarten. From that, you know, just as a crybaby, and the men of my life hadn't continued in order to pretty much weaponize that. You know, I would tell them, they'd weaponize it. So, but what I am learning and what I want you to understand as well, especially if you deal with it too, your inability to feel or show emotions is not a badge of honor. Your emotional shallowness is not a badge of honor. Real people with real emotions. Humans are meant to be emotional people. Humans are emotional people, especially women. So, it's not a badge of honor. You're not cool, you're not... If you bury your emotions to the point that you are a judgmental prick, that's all that you are. just an empty, numb, judgmental prick. And as much as it hurts, I will eventually heal from it. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, okay? This isn't an ego stroke, even though I am proud of myself. Back in 2018 was when he started to help me heal. Well, I will say that he did give me the stepping stones. But, and back then I tried to thank him, and he's like, no, you know, you did it yourself. And he still doesn't take credit, which is fine. And probably better than if he did. But I used him as basically a mirror to be able to see myself. At the time back then, he was right about some things, like me over-explaining myself, oversharing, constantly saying I'm sorry, and stuff like that. Like, every 10 seconds I was apologizing for something. I was emotionally manipulative at the time, but he is stuck in that 2019 and before me, and refuses to see any of the progress and healing I have made in the past few years after my ex left. He's like stuck. He's like, this is who you are, and this, like, that's not who I am anymore. You know, I think I just said this. I don't remember. My mind has been messed up for days. Okay, so, excuse me. Sorry, there's been a dragonfly that's been showing up for the past few days. And I think it's the same one. But I used him as a mirror to learn myself. And me doing that allowed me to be able to accelerate my own healing. Because it taught me how to reflect on myself. It's like, okay, well, because he wouldn't validate me, okay? Like, I tried asking him, what do you see? And it was all the negative things. It was none of them positive, it was all negative. Which, of course, it hurt, still does. But it did teach me how to reflect those toxic traits into not make them better, but to heal them, to figure out the why, the what, the how, and to transform that into a positive trait. You know, kind of like shed that. And, you know, obviously there are times where I slip, especially if, you know, my whole thing is I hate injustice. Like, that is a huge thing for me. I hate injustice with anybody. It's one of those, you know, I'm very much a fighter for the underdogs, for the black sheep type people, because I am one of them. But it's one of those, I will fight tooth and nail to protect them. And that's another thing that he didn't like. Yeah, he didn't like when I would protect people. He's like, why do you care? Why do you care about protecting me? Because I didn't have people to protect me growing up. Like, yes, I had my mom, but it's like, there was one time in first grade to where, I don't even remember what happened, but I'm standing there and I'm looking down at my desk and I'm crying, and pretty much the teacher is telling me that I'm stupid. Might not have been the right words, but that was the gist of it. And she's literally poking me pretty fucking hard on my damn head, like round about where my soft spot would be, you know, if I was younger. And I go and tell my mom about it, you know, about how hard she was poking me in the fucking head. She shouldn't have touched me to begin with. And so mom, being mom, you know, she went to go and protect me, and the teacher lied about how hard she had touched me, and pretty much said that I was being dramatic and that I was being oversensitive about it. And that's when I realized that I couldn't even trust teachers, to be honest. And that's when I stopped telling mom about things, because it didn't even matter if I told her, because what would stop them from lying and calling me a liar, saying that I'm, you know, just blowing things out of proportion. So I just stopped. I stopped telling her. And of course there are things that I bring up now and she's like, I never knew that, and I tell her that, you know, I felt that there was no point because these people would lie. It's like, I understand that you would protect me if it was the case, but it's like, you know, I didn't have a reason to lie about a teacher poking me in the head. That hard. Some of my teachers were fucking assholes. Up until high school, I loved my teachers. Like, you could literally tell by my report card on how well I was treated. And pretty much what I was going through at the time. Like, freshman year of high school, my first semester, I got all A's and 1 B. By the time senior year, by the time graduation came around, I graduated with about a C average. Yeah. If I'm not treated right, I just don't try. That's my flaw. I just don't try. I don't care to try. If I'm not treated right, I don't care. I care about people. I am not academically motivated in much of any capacity. So. Okay, we're at 30 minutes. I had to get this out, but I'm taking a break on social media. But I'm not going to stop sharing what I want to share. And I'm not going to stop sharing what I feel like I need to get out. Me taking a break from social media is to basically stop doom scrolling endlessly on end, to spend more time with my family, because I will use it as a way to basically dissociate from stressful situations. Not like I'm ignoring the situations, just it's kind of like my little void that I hide in, and it's one of those. I need to stop hiding in the void, and I need to stop the way that, again, my injustice thing, the way that people treat each other online and use the internet as an excuse is bullshit to me, and it fires me up. And it's one of those, I know that I can't control other people, okay? I can only control me, but it doesn't stop me from venting. I have gotten better about it, because I understand that I can't control people and I can only control my reaction to it, but you know, I'm progress, not perfection. So, but I deserve to not doom scroll into oblivion. And so that's basically what this break is about. It's just, and the thing that happened that I won't mention. So, thank you. If you watched all this, thank you. Remember, it is okay to be emotional. Give yourself what took me years to finally realize. Give yourself permission to be yourself, even if it makes other people upset. And what I mean about that, because don't be a toxic shit to people. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Like, don't be a toxic shit. But be your real, honest, true self. The you that was like a kid. Maybe you like to play in the dirt. Maybe you like to color. Maybe you like color. You know, I like color, even though I mostly wear black. Because I don't like to be seen. I don't like the attention, because when I get the attention, that's when bad things happen. But I still love color. I don't have a favorite color. I have my safe colors. And colors that I adore. But I don't have a favorite. I know that sounds very fucking... I confused myself. But the kid that would show emotion, that would show that, you know, I'm mad because you treated me wrong, or I'm upset because this hurt me. Genuinely. You know, it's not just the, oh, well, she took my cookie. No, it's, you know, I don't feel seen and heard. You know, give yourself permission to be yourself, to enjoy the little things, even if it makes you cry. Yeah, last night I turned on these, I have the flameless little LED candles, and I have these little ceramic pumpkins that I bought last year, and I completely forgot about it because I was still in a mental funk. Well, I found those a while ago, about a month or so ago. And I, you know, turned the little light on, and I put them inside the pumpkin. And I am from Connecticut, which is up in New England. And I am in love. I'm in love with 90s, early 2000s Halloween, where people actually walk the neighborhoods. When the trees would be orange, burgundy, and gold. When it would be a cold night and the fallen leaves would crunch underneath our feet as we walked. Went out at 5 p.m. to start trick-or-treating. I'm carrying a big ass fucking pillowcase because of how much candy we got every year. And I wouldn't walk for 3 to 4 hours. And it would get dark. But even in the darkness, we were safe. And how... If I start crying, you will not be able to understand me. Halloween was the one day of the year to where I actually felt normal and felt like I fit in, even though being normal is really fucking boring. Trying to fit in is really fucking boring. And I don't want to be a shade of beige. I don't want to be a shade of beige. But those little pumpkins, it just reminds me of home. And there are times that I miss home. I've been realizing a lot of things lately. Being able to control the emotions and not suppress them. That way I can still be heard and understood. But if you have joined me for this chat, I deeply appreciate it. And I hope you have a good day.